Hello and welcome to Take 3 with PT. This is a YouTube series where I take 3 minutes to answer a biblical, practical, or theological question. Today's question is, why can't I stop sinning? Well, let me give you the quick, glib answer. It's because you're a sinner. It's in your nature. And I am too. It's in my nature. This has been passed down from our first parents, Adam and Eve, who at the beginning decided they wanted to go their own way and not live according to God's rule, God's law, God's reign. And that nature, that inward bent, that voice that says, I get to be the master of my own fate, I'm going to do things my way, is something that's bred into all of us. I'm a sinner. It's in my nature. Sin is essentially saying, I want to do my own thing and not listen to what God has to say. It can be a posture, it can be an action, it can be an attitude, but it's doing things with an inward bent, saying, I don't want God's rule in my life. We also tend to think that when we become saved, we start following Jesus, that all of a sudden we're instantly going to change. But that just doesn't happen. Now, some things may change, some addictions may stop. Here's what happens at salvation. Instantly, your identity changes. You are no longer dead, you are alive. You are no longer just a sinner, you're actually a saint. You are no longer a child of wrath, you are a child of God. So instantly, your identity changes, but your affections gradually change over time. It takes a while for me to learn to stop telling lies. It takes a while for me to stop lusting after things, envying after things. I have to slowly learn that process. It's been embedded into me. So salvation instantly changes your identity, but not your affection. There's this thing inside all of us actually called the flesh. The Apostle Paul uses this term. The flesh is that persistent, resistant part of you that clings to your old way of doing things, clings to your inner bent, clings to your idols. And all of us has the flesh. The Apostle Paul says that when you're saved, there's still this residual old sin nature called the flesh, and it will persist and it will resist God's way of doing things, and all of us have that. Hopefully over the course of your time, the flesh shrinks, your affections change, because we have learned something really important: to surrender our flesh and keep step with the Holy Spirit. In fact, the Apostle Paul talks about this in Galatians chapter 5. He says that we should walk according to the Spirit. We have crucified our flesh. We take off the old sins and we bear the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness. Change happens when you get rid of one part of your life by substituting it for something else in your life. So why can't I stop sinning? Well, it's our old nature, the persistent resistance of the flesh. Salvation changes our identity immediately, but our affections slowly change as we surrender our flesh to the change agent of the Holy Spirit. I pray He helps you this week.